Hello, how do you get your relic weapon then from patch 7.25? Simply put, the new relic weapon for combat jobs is available now if you are level 100 and have completed the 7.0 Dawntrail storyline. If you're at this stage, you can go to the city of Tulialal and use the mini aetheryte teleport to the Wakumeki location. This is the far east of the city on the dock side. Here you will find, if you have completed Dawntrail 7.0 MSQ and reached level 100 on a combat job, see the quest The Last Hurrah. This involves you taking a boat and going on a series of cutscenes to unlock the new Phantom Village. This acts as your new hub for the Occult Crescent content, which is field content similar to Eureka or Bosja. And the next plus quest that you will unlock here will actually give you access to the South Horn, the first of 2 planned field instances for Dawntrail's field content, scheduled to feature field instance fates and critical engagements, large-scale dungeons, 2 of which similar to Baldessian Arsenal from Eureka, its own independent leveling system with unique phantom jobs, and much, much more. Once this plus quest Unfamiliar Territory has been completed, you are then able to queue for that new instance. However, if you 180 and walk back down to the hub town near the dockside, you will find another plus quest. This is titled Arcane Artistry. This then is the first part of your new relic weapon series. This then tasks you with collecting and bringing back 3 of each 6 Atma types you find within the field instance. You can do this either within the South Horn itself on fates and critical engagements in set areas, which are shown here. The zone is essentially divided into multiple sections. It doesn't tell you this, but a lot of people have figured out this is basically the borders of where you would need to go. For each one, each color is representing each one of the Atma. Or you can do these in the open world in Dawntrail areas from the various zones added in Dawntrail, as you can see from this list here. What you decide to do is entirely up to you, and the drop rate is intended to be very low to give your first relic experience of this new weapon to be a hurdle and requires either a lot of luck or a lot of patience to complete. This is reminiscent of the Atma stages of old. However, this is nothing like those pre-nerf versions of the A Realm Reborn relic, if you're familiar with that, offering a lot more leniency than that, but it will still require you to put in several hours of time to do this. Many players have commented that they do not like this stage on the forums and that their luck is awful, and I don't really have too much to say in return, other than my usual point that I think it's a good idea to have a variety of stages for a relic weapon, with ways that are slightly more interesting than just tome turn-in stages for an entire relic. You may disagree, and that is fine. In the end, your chances of getting an Atma are actually higher outside of the content in the open world Dawntrail Fates. It's not an opinion, that's just pure fact, since South Horn has set places that can give certain Atma colors. As you progress a weapon, you may find yourself in a situation like I did in around 6 or 7 days. I did a lot of critical engagements and fates, and all I needed was purple ones and light blue ones. They refused to drop. Considering how few things were popping when I needed them to get the chance to see the drop I needed, I resorted to going to places like Heritage Found for my purple ones, for example, which I did manage to get the 3 I needed in just over an hour and a half on stream. Now, that of course is just pure luck, and it's not going to happen for everyone that way, but considering the entirety of every fate in that zone could give me purples, it's not guaranteed, but it could give me purples, and only give me purples, it did end up weighing out better for me. Bear in mind, however, that doing anything outside of the South Horn, you are kind of sacrificing valuable time to get Phantom experience for Phantom jobs, your knowledge level XP, silver coins if you're doing fates, and chances to get unique loot to that zone, such as new mounts and minions and glamour. But if you were at the point where I got to, where Lady Luck was just screwing you into a corner and you needed just 1 or 2 of 1 or 2 colors, it might be best just to spend a couple of hours outside of the zone to go and get them, but RNG is still going to be a factor. Once you have all 6 Atma and 3 each of those, you can return to Geralt in the Phantom Village, and he will give you access to the second stage. So that was the first. The second stage then, they do not actually give you a weapon for free. Now you have to collect heliometry for phase 2. 1,500 of it to be precise. People wanted a mix of stages, so here we are, I guess. Every relic requires 1,500 heliometry tomes, of which we can get from our roulettes, our frontlines, spamming dungeons, wondrous tales, dailies for the new Allied Society quest, for example, and many other sources too. This is where the relic stage ends for 7.25, and if you want to get all of them, you'll need to farm the 1,500 heliometry for each one, which you can purchase from a vendor that appears after you've completed the Atma stage, and then there's also a person that you can spend that heliometry, and then there's a person you can spend that currency to get your relic. The relics in question are 745 item level and are obviously worse than the Historia weapons that you can obtain from normal mode content at endgame level 100 just from doing the normal raids and capping each week and getting the drop from the last boss. However, this is the first stage of the relic, and ultimately any relic in history of this game has only really been comparable stat or item level wise at its final stage near the end of an expansion, where it, usually gets a little bit of a bonus above. For this reason, if you already have a Historia weapon, you might want to get one for your ults, or just think about maybe Glamour, but if you haven't got a 745 item level weapon, this is a great idea for you to pick up if you can go through the grind. But certainly for the stats, you can do a lot better. Speaking of Glamour then, I personally think these look pretty good for the first stage. I've only got 2 of them so far, as I've been far too busy in OC to actually go and do my roulettes each day. That's my excuse. But the Warrior and White Mage ones that I got look pretty awesome. They also seemingly die quite nicely as well, with both of them having 2 pallets, so I'm looking forward to collecting all of these over the course of the expansion. Whatever you plan to do for your relic farming, however, your own RNG will affect any outcome that occurs. And I know a bunch of people are going to hate me for saying this, but personally, in my opinion, I like the fact there's a little bit of a hurdle to get over before I can just go and immediately buy them with tomes easily. I personally always hated tomes as the only option for the Hildebrand ones. It took a little bit away from it for me for some reason, and I think that personally it's better to engage players with the content and get them to log in and do content rather than just log in, do your roulettes and get a free gift. You might disagree, and that is certainly fine, but the fact that stage 2 is tomes is clearly an indicator that Square Enix is at least trying to experiment to some degree with both sides of that player base argument. Is it perfect? Absolutely not, but it's a start, and I guess we'll have to see what happens in the next stage. Let me know if you are stuck on your purple ones like I was for 7 days straight or not, how many relics you've got in your collection, and if you're enjoying the South Horn. Much love, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.